We're back here with Cleopatra Fortune Score Exhibition by Eerokurkisuo. I got it better in practice. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. I wish I remembered your name. I just forgot it right now. Or even though I just read it myself, but we can all practice pronouncing each other's names. Right after I get this run started of this score exhibition, and I'll get a countdown for starting this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And we won't be going for a good time here, but for a hoist score, and in a kind of a glitch score category. Since there's an exploit you can do with these early pieces in the game, you'll see every piece so far is identical. At the very start of the game, the first couple of pieces you get are not random, and you can exploit that to do a technique where you can gain hundreds of millions of points at the very start of the game from a fixed order of pieces by doing a setup, and to prevent this from being performed, this category requires you to clear the first 14 pieces which are not yet random. You get to the part of the game where you can actually no longer effectively get such a setup going, which we've done now. So now we can start doing the actual meat and bones of the run, which is stacking these Tetris pieces. And you'll see these pieces are consisting of two parts. They have a block on top, which turns blue when it's set in place, and they have treasure attached to them. And when the treasure is surrounded by blocks like this gem right here on the rightmost column, when it's surrounded from all sides by blocks or by the bottom of the battlefield, it'll get cancelled. That's the main way we are going to be dealing with the blocks. And then when you line up blocks of the same type in a row, they all get cancelled. Same as in Tetris. And this weird looking structure that is being built as we speak, this weird looking thing is going to ideally set up a chain reaction or a combo where you see how this cancel happens when I'm going to surround these gems at the bottom. If you get several of those happening in a row, you can get a combo that starts increasing your score exponentially and giving you special bonuses for doing a combo. It's a bit confusing, but once we get one going, it'll all make sense. Maybe it's kind of hard to explain actually. Okay, I still need some more pieces. Okay, this is a good piece. I need to stack this pile here. Okay, now I have my stack ready, and you see how these cancels are being split into individual hits, and there's a counter coming up. The hearts on the left are counting the amount of hits. We got 6 right now, 7, 8, and we got how many is this? I can't count this many hearts anymore. But every heart is increasing the score multiplier of the cash-ins that you see on the score right now. That final hit got like about 2 million points, and then we got a combo bonus on top of that, which adds up to a pretty large amount. And then we are going to want to try repeating that. That was a pretty successful first combo. Yeah, now we want to just try to do it again. But it keeps getting harder as at the very start of the game I was only getting a few different blocks, but as the game progresses there's gonna be more and more different block types showing up. And some of them are going to be a bit less friendly than others. Like the ones I'm getting right now are not the best I've ever seen. This is going to be a bit troublesome. I have to make sure there's enough stuff on my stack, so this will combo. Let's hope this works. This looks a bit weird, but yeah, it's missing one piece here in the center. So it's not gonna fill this final hole right in this column here. There was one piece missing. And you see why that piece was missing is that one of the pieces in my column was one of these tall columns that is wide, and it was placed vertically, and what that caused was when it got cancelled, a hole appeared in its place, since it only counts as one piece even though it removed 2 height from the column of pieces, so it needed to have ideally one more piece on top of the stack for that combo to go all the way. But it's a good thing that the combo worked at all after the minor issues that were happening. Okay, good thing that the game is giving me whites. The blocks that we are getting are completely random. Oh, I misplaced that block. I meant to place it sideways. Not like that. Okay, this can still work. This is gonna be a bit... It's gonna be a bit weird, but this can definitely still happen. This is definitely weird. But I think this should work if I can get the right pieces. Okay, let's cross our fingers that this will go off. Oh, that's a unintentional double. That's really bad. That's not going to get the combo. Your combos need to be at least 5 hit long in order to trigger the combo bonus, and ideally a lot longer than that to also get an exponential multiplier on each of the individual cancels in the combo. Okay, let's try this again. You'll notice that you can build the combo in different ways as well. You can have the poles ideally next to the wall. Right now, because I had residue from my previous attempts at combo, I'm gonna have these intentional holes in my combo to set up hits later in weird places. And also, the game isn't spawning any white blocks. This is really bad. You need whites to be able to set up these intentional holes for your combo, and if the game doesn't spawn whites, which is happening right now, then things are going to not feel so good. I'm just gonna have to get rid of these blocks. It's unfortunate having to clear this stack like this instead of getting a large combo, but if the game does not want to spawn wide blocks, it gets very difficult to actually get the combo going properly. Okay, now we can try this again. The game would like to generate some wide blocks this time to allow me to create these holes in my stack in a controlled manner. Still need 2 more whites to create my second holes. Okay, here's one. Now just 1 more if the game would like to. Give me 1. Okay, here's a wide. This time it is cooperating. Unlike in some Tetris titles, the pieces you get in this game are completely random. There's no limitation to... For example, in most Tetris games there's a limit in modern ones where you can only get so many of the S and Z blocks in a row. There's a limit in the RNG, so you can't get completely impossible luck on those, but in this game there are no limits on what blocks you can get, so if you get bad luck, you can just get blocks that do not work very well. Again, I had 1 piece too few on top of that stack to count for the holes that were going to appear later down the stack from having these tall blocks placed vertically. So it was missing the very last hit of the combo, but it got most of the way there. And I am again getting to do this in a slightly more awkward way, with these holes being away from the wall, which makes it a bit more risky and a bit more restrictive in what blocks can be used to create these holes, since if these intentional holes are not next to the wall, what happens is that I can only use blocks that have 1 piece on them to create the stepping stone for the hole, so to speak. This is not ideal, having this casket here in the center. That's going to be a bit difficult to cancel later, and this is going to stack very close to the ceiling as well. Yeah, this is not ideal. I'm gonna have to get rid of these pieces and jump something over to the right. You may ask, how did I get the piece over to the right, over the ceiling? There's actually 1 tile of space above the ceiling where you can still move pieces, since your pieces spawn slightly above the top of the screen. And if you do your inputs fast or buffer them by holding left or right, you can still move over what looks like a total wall, if the wall is only up to the visible ceiling. If you have blocks that are above the visible ceiling, which you can also do in this game, intentionally or accidentally, then you can't pass over them, but that didn't happen this time. Everything was fine. Good thing I didn't choke the placement of that piece. Is this right? I think this is right. Yeah, this should be fine. I got a bit confused of where I had placed my holes in my stack, but these are good. The holes need to be matched well, son, as sometimes when you're trying to build the stack and you haven't yet cleared the pieces that will later be going out from under it, can be easy to kind of miss just what pieces are actually in your stack. I don't want whites, I need a single, this combo, so I don't accidentally get a double. Wait, this isn't right, these caskets here, those caskets there were blocking this from proceeding, that's not good, that's not good. I have to get rid of these blocks. I don't think this can get the combo threshold anymore, I'm just gonna have to clean up the stack a bit. Yeah, there was a small problem there in the center with these caskets blocking the pieces from clearing. Things can get pretty confusing in this game pretty quickly. Especially when it starts speeding up when you get closer to multiples of 10 on the levels, which is happening right now. So I'm taking it a bit easy, instead of trying to combo as hard as possible, since I don't want the game over when the game is speeding up. It's going to slow down once we go past the 30 threshold. And that's going to be coming very soon, so now I can just stack a couple of pieces. It's a pretty dirty stack, but yeah, this should work. Should work, I just need to have some pieces here to pop it. Yeah, this works. There's still a piece missing there on that fourth column from the left. So the combo will be cut at 5. Again, since there was those tower blocks placed vertically in the stack that created a hole, which I hadn't accounted for. Didn't quite get my placements optimally while the game was speeding up and I was getting a bit scared. I'll just have to get rid of some of my stack. So I can start building it from the bottom again. Okay, I just need to clear one more line and then I can start trying the next combo. This should do the trick. That is good. And I am again going to get to do this fun way. With the intentional holes being off-center. The blocks also start getting a bit less friendly here in the 30s in levels. Especially starting from 35. The game is going to speed up a lot, so I'm going to want to ideally get this combo in before the game speeds up. Very easy to accidentally game over if there's a high stack not long from now. Okay, that piece on the top right is really, really bad. You do not want that to happen. I'm going to clear these pieces because this is too tall for comfort. I could end up falling myself soon if I do not take safety into account. The game is going to start speeding up a lot in like 10 pieces or so. And I do want to be a bit safer than this when that happens. Okay, I should be safe. Yeah, now you head is in. 30s are also a difficulty spike in this game. This game is exactly 100 levels long. But the 30s are one of the more dangerous parts of the game, especially starting from now when it's speeding up. It's at this point that you get some of the hardest pieces in the game in the drop pool. At a high speed. And after this the game actually gets a bit easier for quite a few levels, and oh! Speak of the devil, I think I am in trouble. Oh no! That final piece needed to be placed a bit differently and I could have still recovered that, but this is why we have a bit of extra time in my estimate, because if I fuck up, things can go out of control very quick. And the time it takes for pieces to go in place in this game is also very short when the game speeds up and the stack is high. You know, how long can you spin the piece on the ground before it locks? That's quite short. And I was a bit too slow there to deal with the situation I got myself into. That's unfortunate. I have to use a continue, which takes me back to level 30, a couple of minutes into the past. And also nulls the score. That's unfortunate, but the 30s are one of the more dangerous parts of the game, and it is unfortunately possible that this can happen. But after using the credit, I can still demonstrate the rest of the game. Oh, there's again that tall piece there in the center, which I hadn't gotten the blocks on top of to fill the holes that it created later. It just keeps happening. I could go for another combo here, but it's a bit too close to 35 for comfort for me, so I'm going to play that a bit safe. Not get myself into another game over. That would be unfortunate. When you're not doing large combos, which are the risky way to get points in this game, you can also go for perfects, where you just clear every piece on the field and you get a score bonus based on which level you are on, based on that. These generally score lower, especially early in the game, since they are based on which level you're on. But those could be happening soon, if we can get some luck, but if the pieces don't cooperate, then it can't happen, and these pieces stacking these anywhere we did would leave this gem here on the bottom, which we cannot get a perfect with. Just take it safe here, not game over again in the late 30s. The late 30s difficulty spike is actually pretty big. The next 50 levels or so after this are actually significantly less risky to survive in. Only at the very end of the game does the difficulty again reach a very high level. Okay, we now got past the 30s after using a credit to continue, and now we are in the 40s, and a new block type was just introduced. It explained in Japanese on the left. And the new block type that was introduced are mummies. So far we've only had treasure. Oh, I didn't quite want to put it like that. So far we've only had treasure that when it's surrounded by these pieces will be cancelled. But mummies are a special type of treasure, where if they are buried by themselves they will not be cancelled. But they instead need to be buried with other treasures that are not mummies, in order for them to be cancelled once they are surrounded. And that can go really bad really quick if the mummies get buried without stuff. Okay, here's a perfect. Ideally, the blocks should cooperate a bit, and we would see a few of those. Okay, we can get another, that's good. And it doesn't matter how many mummies and how much treasure there is in a connected area of treasures. It just needs to have some of both. So one mummy with a lot of treasure or 10 mummies with one treasure, those are both going to cancel equally. Just need to make sure that the mummies are not naked. Speaking of things that are naked, you see I now have some naked treasure at the bottom of my stack, and this is something that when you're going for perfects can actually be helpful or stacking your pile in other ways. Since using these naked pieces that you have left on the playfield, you can use them to kind of prop up your blue blocks and get them into positions where you otherwise couldn't if there weren't some naked treasures on the bottom. Not great luck with the perfects right now. Game is also again speeding up as we get closer to a multiplier of 10 on the levels. But the block RNG, or the block pool rather, at this point is much more forgiving than it was in the late 30s, so this shouldn't be too dangerous. I'm also placing some of these blocks sideways instead of straight up, and that slightly increases the chances of getting good block luck, having a chance of clearing the field in fewer pieces. Since a tall piece that's stacked sideways has a say, lower amount of blocks needed to line clear, you know. If you have 3 sideways tall blocks and 1 block that can clear the field in 4 pieces, whereas if you have them all turned upways, that would require 7 pieces. So, like right here, right now I can get a perfect with 4 pieces since 3 of these are sideways, which is ideal. Placing some of these pieces sideways in advance, see a slightly better chance of getting that to happen. And I'm also going to wait until I get this small block here. With slightly better chances of getting some better block luck. Again, so I use the more efficient blocks, these sideways wides, instead of cancelling them vertically, where they are a bit less efficient. The way levels progress in this game is, it's just a fixed amount of pieces that you get on each level. So the more efficiently you use the pieces that you do get, better of a score you can expect to get. You still of course need the blocks to cooperate, which hasn't been happening too much just so far. So you can notice the latter half of the game is actually significantly more chill than the early game, where you go for very dangerous combos and can game over stuck into the ceiling. At this point I'm just going for the effects. Need to make sure not to bury these mummies. Can't surround them until we have something to place with them, so we can still make sure they are spirited away once they are surrounded. Very easy to lose track of the mummies and have a very tragic run. That's a nice way to get stuck. Small, and now we can get a perfect. Nice block luck. Progression difficulty also slows down a bit after the early game. In the first few levels, the difficulty spike in the 30s comes quite quickly, but in the late game it builds up a bit more gradually. So there's not going to be sudden spikes, where the block first suddenly gets a lot more punishing. It's gonna be more of a straight progression. Linear progression, I should say. It's a good word to throw out there. Is again speeding up, but we should be good with this. I left that unintentional holder in the lower left, but I was able to get rid of that. Yeah, this is fine. Having these mummies on top of my stack doesn't feel the best. I need to make sure that I don't wall them off. I need some treasure to throw in with them before I can bury them. Okay, now I have one. And clear out the mummies. Okay, this is looking good. These blocks can't perfect either. It's unfortunate. Okay, now I have some good residue here that I can place my blocks on top of this mite. Ah, no. Just unlucky on this final block, so I wasn't able to perfect, but there was a pretty good chance of it with the useful residue, but no luck. I've actually been getting pretty bad marathon luck in this game as of late. It seems like a bit of a cursed game for me. The blocks just end up being a bit unfriendly for getting the perfects or for staying alive. This should be fine. I shouldn't be getting killed yet. Okay, now we again have this good residue here. We can use variety of blocks. But then the blocks don't spawn in a way that lets me get a perfect. with these S blocks, there's no way to get a perfect since they will always leave a residue block, so you just need to get a bit luckier than this. That mummy in the corner there was an awkward placement. Oh, I didn't want it like that. I forgot to rotate the piece. Oh, it's speeding up. Okay, should be fine. Just trying to get rid of my stack. He's good. I need to make sure that I have something on my... both of my stacks here, so on the left and on the right before I bury the mummies, and now I have, so I can now stack the blue stuff on top. Or I can use this pyramid block that cancels all pieces of the type that it's dropped on. In this case, it cancelled all the mummies. I will also get rid of them. These pyramid blocks always spawn at a fixed round in the game. In this case, at the start of level 70. One of those will spawn to get you out of trouble. Oh, that mummy boy there. I did not want him surrounded, but I almost got him. Almost accidentally blundered, but I noticed that I was giving him a bit of a surround without having buried him with the burial implements. Thankfully the mistake was avoided. But the block lock is still not here. You just need the right final block to be able to get a perfect, which just isn't happening. Another one of these. I swear this is a cursed run. And another one of these L blocks. Okay, maybe now the game will let me get one. No! It's another L block. I might have to file for an Amazon refund on these blocks I'm being given. These are not the ones I ordered. Being able to get some bad block luck is also one of the fun parts in this game, since there's a lot of different types of blocks, and they can all come facing in either direction. Right, forgot to mention, but there's also a fun feature in this game where you can only rotate in one direction. You can only rotate clockwise. There's no counterclockwise rotation button, so that's why we have to rotate things 3 times to get them to rotate counterclockwise. Which, when the game speeds up, is a lot of rotations that you have to make just to get a piece to do one turn. Actually, my stack right now is low. Aside from that, Doom stack on the left. That Doom stack is it's a bad thing to have here. It's going to require me to stack quite high, get it cleared, so I can drop stuff into that holder. Okay, we should have this cleared now. Having that Doom stack there is a bit dangerous, but we were able to get it taken care of. Oh, there's this buried mummy here, that's not good. And I want to free him ASAP. To do that, I want to be sure not to stack pieces in a way that would prevent that mummy from being freed later. And this should do the trick. Oh no, it still needs one more team. I'm on the right track. This is fine. This is fine. No, this is not fine. I need to surround this stuff. Okay. Right in time. As you see, when things start going wrong, and if the pieces keep giving you these difficult to use L blocks with tall stuff on them, things can get really bad, really fast. No, this is bad. Okay. I was still able to slip in my piece over the top. It was just slightly dangerous. And I still have some troubles with my stack, but now we can finally Breathe a sigh of relief as the stack grows significantly less tall. I'm still not quite out of trouble though. I'm gonna need to throw some tins into this hole here. The way I manage my stack has put me in quite a sticky situation right now. And the block lag too has not been... It's not been the best it's ever been. Oh no! I game overed. I can't actually clear the blocks there anymore. Inside based off-screen blocks. No, what? What? By the way, you can place blocks completely off-screen in this game where you can't see them, so... I'm not sure how I survived that, because the blocks that cleared my stack aren't even visible. That's another good feature of the game. Usually it serves to screw you over, but apparently there was something off the screen that let me somehow survive that series of very unfortunate errors. Good old blunders. Okay. We should be getting to a more reasonable state very soon. Things are looking up. Yes, this is much better. Hopefully we can stop being in danger all the time right after we get rid of these blocks. And the game is also slowing down as we get past the 89 mark, so now I have some actual time to fix the stack that's been busted up for so long. Okay, now the trouble is finally over. That was so scary. I have no idea how I survived that stack that stacked up to the ceiling on the left. Pieces entirely off the screen. In a lot of games you can place... A lot of puzzle games, like you can place pieces partially off the screen where the bottom of the piece is visible and the top is hidden. But in this game you can place pieces that are completely hidden. You cannot see any part of them. And you just have to somehow know what's in the invisible spaces above the top of the playfield. And somehow those invisible pieces save my run. It's incredible. No idea how that happened. I'm gonna have to watch this later, see what exactly was going on up there. Okay, let's not bury these mummies. I need to wait until I have something that's not a mummy. Now we have something like that. Anyway, as I mentioned before, blocks are completely random, so if the game wants to give you nothing but 10 mummies in a row, it can absolutely do that. There's no guarantee that the game stops throwing the mummies. Which hasn't happened too much so far, thankfully. There's also a rare instance where you can use the property of blocks that are 7 in a row being cancelled of the same type. Usually that's going to be the blue blocks, but you can also stack 7 mummies in one row in order to cancel them all. It's quite rare that you manage to do that, but that's the other way to get rid of mummies besides from surrounding them with pressure. I don't think that's happened a single time this run. On most runs it doesn't happen, but if you have the opportunity, it can be a fun thing to go for. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the run as well, which is after level 99. It's going to be a grey pyramid piece that clears the entire field. And then there's going to be a congratulations screen on which that congratulations screen appearing is going to be time, which is in about a minute or so, depending on how these final pieces go. At this point, almost all the pieces in the game are in the pool, so it could be easy or it could be impossible, and right now it's been easy and... time! That was very stressful. But at least we made it past the game after that very scary situation in the late game, getting my stack up to the ceiling and somehow surviving with those screen blocks. Still can't believe that actually happened. Anyway, that's the Cleopatra fortune run. Unfortunately, the scoring didn't quite go exactly the way I would want to, since the block lag in the late game for getting perfects was out of this world. Actually, it was terrible, but early game went pretty okay with the combos before I got that unfortunate game over in the late 30s, but the rest of the run went pretty smoothly, aside from the constant danger and almost choking several times, but man, that was so scary. I'm gonna have to take a breather.